I never imagined that I would miss my own daughter's wedding. After 12 years of a bitter divorce from Diana, our relationship had become a battlefield with our daughter Emma caught in the crossfire. Diana had spent years poisoning Emma's mind against me, and now at 22, Emma had made her choice. The pain of being told I was not welcome at her wedding cut deeper than any wound I had ever experienced. But sometimes life gives us unexpected opportunities to heal even the deepest hurts. Before I tell you my story, let me know where you are watching from. If you have ever experienced family heartbreak, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories that might help you heal. I met Diana during my sophomore year at the University of Michigan. It was September 1999, and I was rushing to a business economics lecture when I literally bumped into her outside the library. Her books went flying, and as I helped her gather them, our eyes met. She had the most captivating hazel eyes I had ever seen, and her laugh when I awkwardly apologized made my heart skip a beat. Diana was studying psychology, and there was something magnetic about her confidence and quick wit. We started dating after running into each other at a campus coffee shop a week later. Our relationship moved quickly. Within 6 months, we were inseparable. Diana was spontaneous and full of life, the perfect balance to my more methodical nature. By the time we graduated in 2001, we were engaged, and we married that December. I was 24, she was 23, and we were madly in love. Emma came along 2 years later in 2003. I still remember holding her in my arms for the first time, this tiny human with Diana's eyes and my chin. Those early years were exhausting but beautiful. We bought our first home in a suburb of Detroit, a modest 3-bedroom ranch that we spent weekends fixing up. Diana decorated Emma's nursery with a woodland theme, and I built her a custom bookcase shaped like a tree. We would take turns reading to Emma every night, making different voices for each character. But as Emma grew, cracks began to appear in our marriage. I had started a small construction company that demanded long hours. The recession of 2008 hit us hard, and I had to work even longer to keep the business afloat. Diana resented the time I spent away from home. She would make cutting remarks about my priorities, suggesting that I cared more about work than family. What she never seemed to understand was that I was working so hard precisely because I wanted to provide security for our family. "You are never here." Matthew became her constant refrain. Emma barely knows her father. This was not true. I made sure to coach Emma's soccer team on Saturdays and never missed a school performance. But in Diana's mind, anything less than constant presence was neglect. As my company finally began to stabilize, Diana grew more restless and bitter. Our arguments intensified, often erupting over minor issues because the real problems ran much deeper. The final breaking point came in 2011 after 10 years of marriage. I had missed Emma's 8th birthday party because a major construction project had a critical inspection that day. I had explained the situation weeks in advance and promised to make it up to her with a special father-daughter day that weekend. But when I came home that night, Diana was waiting for me, her bags packed. "I cannot do this anymore," she said coldly. "Emma cried for you today. I am tired of making excuses for why her father is never around." 2 weeks later, I received divorce papers. The accusations in those documents still make my blood boil. Allegations of emotional abandonment and parental neglect. Diana wanted full custody, claiming that my work schedule made me an unfit parent. I was blindsided and devastated. I hired a lawyer and fought hard for joint custody, but Diana was relentless. In court, she presented a carefully crafted narrative of an absent father using my work hours against me. She had kept a detailed log of every soccer game I had been late, to every school event where I had to leave early for a work emergency. Out of context, it painted a damning picture. The judge granted her primary physical custody, with me getting every other weekend and Wednesday dinners. It felt like having my heart ripped out. From the moment the custody arrangement was finalized, Diana began her campaign to turn Emma against me. She would accidentally schedule activities during my visitation times. She would tell Emma I had canceled plans, when in reality, Diana had never informed me of them. If I was even 5 minutes late for pickup, Diana would call Emma and say, "See, he is letting you down again." When Emma was 9, I arrived to pick her up for our weekend together and found her reluctant to come with me. Later, she asked, "Daddy, why did you not want to pay for my school trip?" I was confused. I had never been asked about any school trip. Diana had apparently told Emma that I had refused to contribute when in truth she had never mentioned it to me. These small poisonings happened continuously, and I watched helplessly as my daughter grew more distant. By the time Emma reached her teenage years, the damage was substantial. My once affectionate daughter had become cold and guarded in my presence. I tried everything to maintain our connection. I sent thoughtful gifts for her birthdays and holidays. I showed up at every school function, even when Diana made sure to sit far away from me. I helped pay for summer camps and extracurricular activities without complaint. But Diana's narrative had taken root in Emma's mind. When Emma turned 16, she began canceling our scheduled visits more frequently. "I have too much homework," or "I made plans with friends," became common excuses. I suspected Diana's influence, but could not prove it. Meanwhile, my construction business had finally become successful. The irony was painful. I now had the financial stability and flexible schedule that could have saved my marriage, but it was too late. I found out about Emma's engagement through my brother, who had remained in contact with Diana's family. Emma was 22 and had been dating James, her college sweetheart, for 3 years. The news hit me with mixed emotions: joy that my daughter had found love, and profound sadness that I had been so far removed from her life that I had to hear this news secondhand. I called Emma immediately, pushing past the awkwardness that had characterized our recent interactions. She seemed surprised to hear from me, but confirmed the news. "I am very happy for you, Emma," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "James seems like a wonderful young man." "Thank you," she replied, her tone polite but distant. "I would love to help with the wedding in any way I can," I offered, "whether it is financial support or just an extra set of hands for preparations." There was a long pause on the line. "That is nice, Dad, but we have everything under control." Despite the lukewarm response, I went out the following weekend and purchased a wedding gift: a vintage pearl necklace that had belonged to my grandmother. Emma had admired it as a child, and I had been saving it for a significant occasion. I wrote her a heartfelt card and kept both ready for when I would receive the official invitation. But the invitation never came. Instead, 3 months before the wedding, I received a call from Emma. Her voice was tight rehearsed. "Dad, I am calling about the wedding," she began. "I have been looking forward to hearing the details," I said warmly. "That is the thing. Mom and I have been talking, and we think it would be best if you did not attend." The words hit me like a physical blow. I sat down heavily on my living room couch, trying to process what I had just heard. "Emma, what are you saying? I am your father. Mom thinks your presence would create tension. It would ruin the day for her, and honestly for me too." Her voice had an artificial quality, as if she were reciting lines from a script. "Has something happened? Have I done something to upset you?" I asked, desperate to understand. "It is not just one thing, Dad. It is everything. All the years you chose work over us. Mom is paying for most of the wedding, and she feels strongly about this." I agree with her. I do not want drama on my special day. I tried to keep my voice from breaking. "Emma, please. I have never missed an important moment in your life when I had a choice. Missing your wedding would—" I could not even finish the sentence. "I am sorry, Dad. My mind is made up. I need to go now." The call ended, leaving me in stunned silence. My wife Sarah found me an hour later, still sitting in the same spot, the phone clutched in my hand. Sarah and I had been married for 5 years. She had been a client of my construction company, hiring us to renovate her veterinary clinic. We connected over our shared experiences of painful divorces. Sarah had never been able to have children of her own, and she had always been supportive of my efforts to maintain a relationship with Emma. "What happened?" she asked, sitting beside me and taking my hand. When I told her, her eyes filled with tears on my behalf. "That is not right, Matthew. There must be something we can do." But as the days passed, I realized there was nothing I could do to change Emma's mind. I fell into a deep depression. The thought of missing my only daughter's wedding, not seeing her walk down the aisle, not having a father-daughter dance, was unbearable. I began seeing a therapist to help manage the overwhelming feelings of rejection and grief. 3 weeks before the wedding, I was sitting in a coffee shop downtown when James, Emma's fiancé, walked in. He noticed me immediately and looked uncomfortable. I expected him to turn around and leave, but instead, after getting his coffee, he approached my table. "Mr. Williams," he said hesitantly, "may I sit down?" I nodded, surprised by the gesture. James was a tall, thoughtful-looking young man with kind eyes. "I wanted to say I am sorry about the wedding situation," he said after sitting. "I tried to talk to Emma about it, but she is convinced it is the right decision." "I appreciate that," I said sincerely. "How is she stressed about the wedding?" he admitted. "And honestly, I think she is conflicted about you not being there. She does not say it directly, but sometimes she looks at old family photos when she thinks I am not noticing. That small revelation gave me a flicker of hope, but I knew better than to push. James, all I want is for Emma to be happy. If my absence is what she thinks she needs, then I will respect that no matter how much it hurts." James nodded, looking relieved. "Thank you for understanding." As he stood to leave, he hesitated. "For what it is worth, I think you seem like a good man. Not the person I have heard described." After that encounter, I made the difficult decision to truly honor Emma's wishes. I would not attend. The wedding would not make a scene, would not do anything that might cast a shadow over her day. But Sarah, always my voice of reason, suggested I channel my love into something positive instead. "You cannot be at the wedding," she said one evening. "But that does not mean you cannot give her a meaningful gift." The idea took root immediately. James had mentioned that after the honeymoon they would be looking for an apartment. Both were recent college graduates with entry-level jobs and student loans. What if I could give them something that would truly help them start their life together? I own several properties through my construction business, including a small 3-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood that had recently been renovated but sat empty. It was perfect for a young couple, close to both their workplaces in a good school district for future planning, and most importantly, mortgage-free. For the next 3 weeks, I threw myself into preparing the house. My construction team and I worked evenings and weekends to add custom touches. I remembered Emma's childhood dream of having a window seat for reading, so we built one in the living room. I installed the kind of gourmet kitchen she had always admired in home magazines. In the backyard, we created a small garden with the same flowers that had grown in our yard when she was little. I furnished the house with a blend of quality new pieces and carefully restored vintage items that I knew would appeal to Emma's taste. In what could be a future nursery, I quietly placed the wooden bookcase I had built for her, as a baby refinished and ready for a new generation. Every corner of that house contained a piece of my heart, a testament to a father's love that had never wavered despite years of separation. On Emma's wedding day, May 21st, I stayed home with Sarah. The ceremony was scheduled for 2 p.m., and as the hour approached, I felt physically ill with grief. Sarah suggested we go for a long drive to distract me, but I could not bear to be away from the phone in case by some miracle Emma called. Instead, I sat in my home office looking through old photo albums. Emma at 3 riding on my shoulders at the zoo. Emma at 6 proudly showing off the treehouse I had built her. Emma at 10, the last Christmas we had spent as an intact family, still smiling despite the tension between her mother and me. At 4:30, my brother texted a photo of Emma in her wedding dress, taken from his seat in the church. She looked radiant, so grown up and beautiful that it took my breath away. In that moment, the reality that I had missed this milestone hit me full force. I closed the album and went to put the finishing touches on the house, a future filled with possibilities even if the past could not be changed. 1 week after the wedding, my plan was set in motion. I had arranged for James's best man, who was in on the surprise, to bring the newlyweds to the house under the pretense of looking at a potential rental for another friend. They were scheduled to return from their honeymoon in the Bahamas the day before, so the timing was perfect. I waited nervously inside with Sarah watching through the window as a car pulled into the driveway. Emma stepped out looking tanned and happy from her honeymoon. She wore a casual sundress and had her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, so much like she had worn it as a teenager that my heart clenched with nostalgia. As they approached the front door with their friend, they paused, noticing the welcome home sign I had placed in the front yard. Confusion crossed Emma's face. Their friend made a hasty excuse about needing to make a call and retreated to his car, leaving Emma and James standing bewildered on the front walk. I opened the door and stepped onto the porch. Emma's eyes widened in shock. "Dad, what is going on?" "What is this place?" I took a deep breath. "This is your wedding gift. The house, everything in it. It is yours if you want it." James's jaw dropped. "The whole house." "Are you serious?" Emma's expression hardened. "Is this some kind of joke? Or are you trying to buy your way back into my life after the wedding?" I had anticipated this reaction. "I am not trying to buy anything, Emma. I just wanted to give you both a good start. No strings attached. I held out a set of keys. Would you at least come inside and look? James placed a gentle hand on Emma's back. We should at least see it, honey. Reluctantly, Emma followed me inside. I watched her face as she took in the open-concept living room with the window seat filled with plush pillows, the kitchen with the farmhouse sink she had always wanted the backyard visible through French doors. Despite her attempt to remain stoic, I could see her registering all the personal touches. How did you know I always wanted a window seat? She finally asked, her voice smaller. You used to talk about it all the time when you were little. You said it would be the perfect place to read on rainy days. A flicker of something, memory connection, doubt, crossed her face, but it quickly hardened again. This is too much, Dad. We cannot accept this. It feels like you are trying to manipulate me. The accusation stung, but I had promised myself I would remain calm no matter what. Emma, I have never tried to manipulate you. For 12 years, I have tried to be part of your life despite every obstacle. I have called, texted, shown up, even when you pushed me away, because you abandoned us first. She shot back. Is that what you really believe? Or is that what your mother has told you to believe? I walked to my briefcase and pulled out a binder. This contains every text message, every email I sent, asking about school events that I was never told about. Records of child support payments, always on time, often more than required. Notes from teachers thanking me for my involvement in your school activities. James gently took the binder and began flipping through it. Emma refused to look. Your mother has painted me as a villain for so long that you cannot see any other possibility. I continued, my voice breaking slightly. I have respected your wishes, Emma. I stayed away from your wedding, even though it broke my heart. But I will not apologize for loving you enough to give you this gift with no expectations attached. James looked up from the documents, his expression troubled. Emma, you might want to look at some of this. Before she could respond, the front door burst open and Diana stormed in. Apparently someone had informed her about what was happening. At 55, she was still an attractive woman, but her face was contorted with anger. What the hell do you think you are doing, Matthew? She demanded. Emma just got back from her honeymoon, and you are already pulling your stunts. This is not a stunt, Diana, I replied evenly. I am giving our daughter and her husband a wedding gift. A house. This is beyond inappropriate. This is just another attempt to show me up, to make me look bad because I paid for the wedding. She turned to Emma. Honey, let us go. You do not need his charity. Emma seemed frozen, her eyes darting between her mother, the binder in James's hands, and me. It is not about you, Diana, I said quietly. It has never been about you. It has always been about Emma. Oh, please, Diana scoffed. You were never there for her. You chose your precious business over your family every single time. That is not true, I countered, still keeping my voice calm. I was building something for our future. I never missed an important event, unless it was absolutely unavoidable. Diana laughed bitterly. Tell that to Emma. When you missed her 8th birthday, to go to a building inspection, a critical inspection that would have cost us the entire project if rescheduled. I explained, looking at Emma. I told your mother weeks in advance. I planned a special day just for us that weekend to make up for it. Liar, Diana spat. You always have excuses. Mom, Emma interrupted, her voice sharp with sudden authority. Did Dad really tell you in advance about that inspection? Diana faltered momentarily. That is not the point. It is exactly the point, Emma insisted. Did he tell you? In her anger, Diana made a fatal mistake. Fine. Yes, he told me. But you were turning 8. He should have been there no matter what. I was the one who had to see your disappointed face. Not him. Emma went very still. So you knew he had a work emergency, but you made me believe he just did not care enough to come. Diana realized her slip too late. Emma, you need to understand. He hurt me so badly. He was never there when I needed him either. So you used me to hurt him back. Emma's voice was barely above a whisper. The room fell silent. I could see years of manipulation suddenly becoming clear to Emma. It was the moment of truth I had waited for, but it brought me no joy to see my daughter's pain, as her understanding of her childhood began to crumble. I protected you, Diana, insisted, her voice rising. He would have disappointed you over and over again, just like he disappointed me. By making sure he did disappoint me, Emma countered. By scheduling things during his weekends, by not telling him about my school events, so he would miss them. She gestured to the binder. James was still holding. Diana's face flushed. You would not understand. After what I went through, I think I need you to leave, Emma said firmly. Now. Diana looked stunned. Excuse me. Please leave, Mom. I need to talk to Dad alone. Diana turned to me with pure hatred in her eyes. You did this. You finally turned her against me. No, Mom, Emma said quietly. You did that all by yourself. After another moment of tense silence, Diana grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The sound echoed through the house, marking the end of an era. Emma sank onto the window seat, looking suddenly exhausted. James sat beside her, his arm around her shoulders. Dad, she said, finally looking up at me. I think we need to talk. Really talk. In that moment, sitting across from my daughter in the house I had prepared for her, I felt a wave of emotion so powerful I could barely speak. Emma looked at me with new eyes, questioning, uncertain, but open in a way I had not seen in years. All this time, she began haltingly. All these years, Mom told me you chose work over us, that you did not fight for custody because your career was more important, that you were relieved to only have me every other weekend. None of that is true, Emma, I said softly. I fought as hard as I could for joint custody. The documentation is all there. Your mother had a very convincing narrative about me being an absent workaholic father. The judge believed her. But you did work a lot. Emma pointed out, a hint of her old defiance returning. Yes, I did, I acknowledged. Especially during the recession. My company was new, struggling. I was trying to build something stable for our family's future. Maybe I did not always balance things perfectly, but I was doing my best. I paused, gathering my courage. But I never, ever stopped loving you or wanting to be part of your life. Emma wiped away a tear. I remember waiting for you to pick me up sometimes and you would not show. Mom would say you had canceled. I never canceled a visit, Emma. Not once. James, who had been quietly looking through the binder, spoke up. There are text messages here from your dad asking your mom why you were not at the pickup location. Her responses saying you were sick or had made other plans. Emma took the binder and began looking through it herself. I watched as her expressions shifted from doubt to confusion to the dawning of a painful realization. Why did you not tell me all this before, she asked, looking up from a printed email, where I had begged Diana to inform me of Emma's high school graduation details. I tried in the beginning, I explained, but you were young and it only seemed to put you in the middle of adult problems. As you got older and more distant, any criticism I made of your mother only pushed you further away. You were not ready to hear it. Emma was silent for a long moment, absorbing this. The wedding, she finally said, her voice breaking. I did not invite you to my own wedding. That hurt more than I can express, I admitted. But I respected your decision. It was not really my decision, Emma confessed, tears now flowing freely. Mom insisted you would make a scene, that you would ruin everything. She said if you came, she would not, since she was paying for most of it. I understand, I said, though. The pain still felt fresh. No, you do not understand. Emma shook her head vigorously. It was wrong. I was wrong. I should have stood up to her. I should have had my father at my wedding. She looked around the beautiful house. And all this time you were doing this for us. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. I also got you this. I had planned to give it to you before the wedding. Emma took the box and opened it. Inside lay my grandmother's pearl necklace. Emma gasped softly. I remember this. Grandma Williams used to let me try it on when I was little. She left it to me to give to you someday. I thought your wedding would be the perfect occasion. Emma's face crumpled as she held the necklace. I am so sorry, Dad. I am so sorry. I moved to sit beside her, and for the first time in years put my arm around my daughter. I forgive you, Emma. I forgave you the moment it happened. That evening turned into a marathon conversation that continued well into the night. We ordered pizza and sat around the kitchen island of what was now Emma and James's home. We talked about everything. My relationship with Diana, the struggles of building a business during a recession, the small and large ways that Diana had controlled the narrative of our family breakdown. Emma shared her memories too, many of them colored by her mother's influence, but some purely her own. There were things I had done wrong times. I had been too focused on work. I acknowledged these mistakes openly, allowing Emma to express her genuine hurts without defensiveness. James was a steady, calming presence throughout, sometimes offering an outside perspective that helped both Emma and me see things more clearly. By the time Sarah joined us bringing coffee and pastries, the next morning a fragile new foundation had been established between father and daughter. Over the following months, Emma and I embarked on a careful process of rebuilding our relationship. We started with weekly dinners sometimes, just the two of us sometimes including James and Sarah. Each meeting peeled back another layer of misunderstanding, replaced with new, authentic connection. Diana remained a complicated figure in our reconciliation. Emma was understandably angry at first, confronting her mother about years of manipulation. Diana initially denied everything, then deflected blame, but eventually admitted to some of her actions, while justifying them as protection. Their relationship became strained, but did not break entirely. I was careful never to encourage Emma to cut ties with her mother. Despite everything, Diana was still her mother, and I understood that Emma needed both her parents in her life. The goal is not to replace one parental relationship with another, my therapist had wisely advised. It is to build something healthy with both. Gradually, Emma discovered the truth of her childhood through multiple perspectives. She found old photo albums at Diana's house that showed me at school events her mother had claimed I had skipped. She reconnected with family friends, who remembered a different version of our family history than the one Diana had crafted. Through it all, the house became a symbol of new beginnings. Emma and James made it their own painting walls, and adding personal touches, but always with respect for the thoughtful details I had included. The window seat became Emma's favorite spot, just as she had dreamed as a child. The garden flourished under her care, with new plants joining the ones I had chosen for their childhood significance. A year after the wedding, Emma and James invited Sarah and me over for dinner. There was a special glow about Emma that evening, a secretive smile she kept sharing with James. After dessert, they handed us a small gift bag. Inside was a tiny pair of baby booties and a sonogram picture. Emma was pregnant, 3 months along. "We wanted you to be the first to know," she said, watching my face. The emotions that flooded me in that moment are impossible to fully describe. Joy, gratitude, vindication, and a profound sense of things coming full circle. I was going to be a grandfather. After all the lost years, all the milestones missed, I would be present from the very beginning of this new life. When Emma hugged me, she whispered, "I want my child to know their grandfather. Really know him." 5 months later, I held my grandson Noah, minutes after he was born. Emma insisted I be in the delivery room, along with James. Diana arrived later, and though the tension between us would likely never fully dissipate, we managed a civil coexistence for Emma's sake. Looking back now, I can see how easily things could have gone another way. If I had not made that house, if Emma had not been ready to see the truth, if Diana's mask had not slipped at that crucial moment, our estrangement might have continued indefinitely. The deepest lesson I have learned through all of this is that truth eventually finds its way to the surface. The narratives we construct to protect ourselves or hurt others cannot stand forever against reality. Emma had to be ready to question her mother's version of events, and I had to be patient enough to wait for that readiness. I have also learned about the extraordinary power of forgiveness, not just Emma forgiving me or me forgiving Diana, but also forgiving ourselves for the mistakes we all made along the way. None of us are perfect parents or perfect children. We are all just doing our best with the understanding and emotional tools we have at any given moment. As I watch Emma with her son, I see a young woman determined to break cycles of manipulation and bitterness. She works hard to maintain honest relationships with both her parents, setting boundaries where needed, but always from a place of love rather than resentment. Family bonds can be bent, twisted, and stretched by pain and misunderstanding, but they are remarkably difficult to break completely. The love I felt for my daughter never diminished during our years apart. It simply waited, patient and hopeful for the chance to be expressed again. What experiences have you had with family reconciliation? Have you ever discovered that something you believed for years was not the whole truth? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories of healing and redemption. Thank you for listening to my journey, and I wish you healing for any broken relationships in your own life.